What's going on, you guys? Bulb and Web Snapper back, and I'm super excited to be getting this video out. There's a ton in this video, so make sure you stick through it all the way to the end. It's how to make a hanger stand, some updated displays, and of course kind of how I put this whole thing together and how it came to be. I'm really happy with how this turned out. Obviously, it's from the Jonathan Hickman X-Men run. I just read it and I loved his series, and so yeah, I made this to have a display to pay tribute to the very cool and fun run that he did. Now, I do have some important announcements that I want to make. I got two things coming up. One is a live stream coming next Saturday at 8 p.m. So mark that in your calendars and make sure you're there. I'll be doing some posing upon your request to help you guys flesh out your displays at home in a more interactive way than I can with YouTube, just in the typical video style. Also, we hit 1K subscribers, which is honestly super exciting. I'm getting closer and closer to the goal of actually being able to make money off of YouTube, doing what I love. That has always been a big goal of mine ever since I was a little kid watching YouTube. I always thought it'd be so cool to be able to do this and earn money. So basically all that I have left is to make sure I get the watch hours. So every time you guys let the whole video play, that helps me out a ton. So that's kind of why I'm also doing the live stream. And so yeah, that helps the channel out the most right now. So make sure you watch the whole video as I packed a lot in. And thank you for being a part of this. I love making these videos for you guys, and honestly for me too. So without further ado, let's get into this video. This summer, I was reading Ultimate Invasion by Jonathan Hickman, and I hate reading things incrementally because I always want more. I read most of his other work, including his famous Fantastic Four, Avengers, and Secret Wars. I enjoy the high stakes and the intense dystopian take on the Marvel Universe. I had yet to give his X-Men a try, and Hickman's X-Men is no different. I won't sit here and explain the concept of the book because I highly recommend you read it for yourself if you have a library near. I will say, it is like the next chapter for the X-Men and a total rebrand. I love the concept of the story where we see the X-Men establish themselves as a world power, as well as the compelling backstory of the trial and error of Moira McTaggart in her pursuit to save the X-Men mutant race. I knew after reading the book, I wanted to have a display featuring this version of the X-Men. I knew this display needed to be different since I already had my definitive X-Men lineup with the 90s X-Men display you guys have seen, so what better way to pay tribute to the story than the iconic imagery seen through the Krakoan Gate, the primary travel method of the mutants in this series. While I was at a toy show last month, I ended up being able to grab a few figures from the Wave at $10 a piece. For this display to be 100% complete, I'll need to pick up the Magneto, Wolverine, and Omega Sentinel. I'm even pushing myself to consider buying Nimrod just because the character had such a presence in the book and I think would also elevate the display. I really want to have the X-Men fighting the Sentinels in a last-ditch effort to keep them from entering their home, erasing them from the Earth. It'll represent how in this book, it was essentially the X-Men's fight to push off their extinction, throwing everything on the line. The idea came to me pretty quick for how I wanted to make it. I knew a wreath would work great for this tree structure, and then I needed to find some type of paper that would work for the actual portal instead of just leaving it blank and open in the middle. The base of it was just a foam block with a layer of greenery glued on top, and then the portal itself was just a traced piece of cardboard where I just simply wrapped the paper around and taped it to the back, which is then attached with a wire that plugged into the back of the foam block. And then I just eventually hot glued it to the wreath itself to make it more structurally sound. Now, as for the decoration of the wreath, it is moss that I got from Hobby Lobby and these little plant-like decorative pieces that my girlfriend had laying around. She also helped me a bit with this, to no surprise. I also got some twigs from outside to slide in to make it look like it's branching out. I thought that came out really cool and added another little element to it. And then the red orb balls are like foam balls that she painted red and put Mod Podge over to give it a glossy look to match the white balls as well. And that's about it. I thinned out the wreath, of course, but other than that, that finished it. It did take me a while though to kind of engineer this and design it, so that it just takes time, but it came out really good, and I'll say that throughout this video. And I'm always surprised when these things come out the way I want them. I don't know why, but it doesn't matter. I did want to let you guys know the reason these videos will take a little bit longer to make is because I'm in school and I have an internship. I'm a senior in college, and so things are busy. I'm trying to manage my time wisely and also create YouTube content. So that's what I'm doing on top of all of this. Regardless, this is my passion, so I'll do this whenever I can, obviously. But we're going to move on to the other sections of this video. The next one's going to be the hanger stands, and then later on I show some of the new displays I've kind of thrown together in the free time that I spent not working on videos. One of the most common questions I get on this channel is what I use for my stands and what they're made of, you know, anything about the stands. So I'm finally going to show you guys what I do to make the stands. It's a metal hanger here, as you can see, and I cut it with some wire cutters, and so I'm cutting the edges off there so that I'm left with only the bottom rod. I'll take this cup and I'm going to then bend the rod around to create a circle base like that, and then I'll just kind of fold it inward. I do this to keep it flat, as to not, because it'll wobble a lot if it's not flat. And I'm going to go ahead and just start bending it in, and you see how I'm trying to keep it on a flat surface so that it can sit and rest flat on the ground. And so after that, I've bent up the stand itself like so, and it will take adjusting once you have the figure on it too. You want it to stand straight up, and I'm going to let this video play so that you can kind of see how long it actually takes to get a figure on the stand. And sometimes you might have to adjust the height of the stand as well. And it does take a lot of adjustment, but once you kind of get the feel of it, it becomes much easier. And I did just show you where I typically do slide the figure on, and I have not noticed that it causes much to any damage to the figure itself. So those of you who are worrying about it damaging the figure, it doesn't typically damage. But yeah, I tried out 2 different figures. Some stands work better for different figures just because of the weight and the poses that you might use. So keep that in consideration when you're making these stands. Make them at different heights, and then experiment with the base types, as that will definitely change how well a stand works for a certain figure. And I think here I've kind of realized that I need to make it shorter, because the taller the stand, the more loose and wobbly it is. So the shorter it is, the more sturdy your stand will be. So I'm finally going to get it to stay stood up here, and the pose is nothing special, but the purpose of this was simply to show you how I get a stand to work and what it takes to sometimes get the stand to work, right, with a figure in a dynamic-ish pose. So be patient. With time, you will get better at it, and it will take no time at all. So I'm going to show off some other displays that I haven't yet. This is going to be my export and other brand for Spider-Man figures, some higher tier, I guess, Spider-Man figures that aren't just Marvel Legends. I really like doing web swinging poses. Those are my favorites. So I decided I wanted to have this little display of them all. That's not my figure, it's my friend's. just as a, you know, disclosure, before he gets in this chat saying that I shouldn't be advertising it, but this is a fun display. I just wanted to show off a little bit. It's something interesting, and I'm really looking forward to throwing some more in and getting a little cool web swing display of a whole bunch of Spider-Man traversing in a way only they can. And here's a refined Spider-Man shelf where I just moved some things from the bottom of a D12 up to the top. And so featured here are, you know, my Hot Toys, a bank that looks really cool like a statue, a inbox, original release Mafex, and then the reissue. I like how I have a vanilla pose it's kind of like a mini statue. It's my favorite look for Spider-Man, so I've always just wanted a regular, just standing profile for him. And then partnered with him, you have the Pizza Spidey, which is the first Marvel Legend I got. You know, outside of, you know, growing up with Toy Biz figures. So that was my first modern Marvel Legend and what kind of got me into collecting. And then I have next to it the Sinister Six figure, which looks awesome. And I'm just trying to add some of the Grail Spider-Man figure pieces into that display. If you're watching the Ahsoka show, you know why I had to update this display. Initially, I had them all just standing, but the episode that I watched made me want to put them in a bit more of a dynamic display. And I know they're from different eras, but it still looks really cool to have live action Clone Wars figures all together. And I am really excited to add the Obi-Wan that goes with this Anakin. That comes sometime next year, but I have it on pre-order and have started actually making payments on it. So that will be super cool to have when it comes in. But for now, these three were the ones featured in the show. And I did want to point out Ahsoka's pose is a little weird because I'm worried about wrinkling the arms. So I have to keep them somewhat straight in the material. So there's some concern about putting her in some crazy poses. So that's why her pose might look a little bit more stiff compared to Anakin and Rex. Lastly, I wanted to show off where I put the statue because it's easily one of the coolest statues I own and was a must get for me for a very long time. And I decided it looks great right on top. It's like a tree topper on top of this shelf. So that's going to be its new home. Before we wrap things up, I did want to show some issues that I had with this. So because it's grass on the bottom, figures are hard to stand up. As you can see, they fall over. And it actually, on this clip, you'll see quite a few. So it's a bit annoying and it is a bigger challenge than I was expecting. But I'll show you how I do combat it though. And it's experiment. I do cut some of the hanger stands and we'll use sticky tack so I can plug them into the grass. I don't know exactly how well this will work, but that is what I'm doing. And so I was I'm experimenting. It's in a very experimental phase right now before I really figure out how I'm going to have them permanently set up. So I'm still messing with this display, but overall, I gotta say, this came out exactly how I envisioned it, which is all you can really ask for when you make one of these projects. This will look really good once I have it complete and add the rest of the figures from the wave into the display. And of course, you guys will see it when that comes out. So I did want to show you guys what these guys were standing on top of, which is the Galactus. As you guys know, I did build this with my grandpa and my girlfriend, and I just wanted to show you how it looks right now. So nothing crazy yet, but this will be a video for sure once I get this all the way filled out. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. It'll be a big Avengers vs. Galactus display and Marvel Universe, I guess. So that'll come out soon eventually. And yeah, that about wraps this video up, guys. Thank you for watching, commenting, liking, and interacting with my videos. I have a blast talking with you all. So please make sure you stay tuned and you subscribe for more. And I'll see you guys in the next video and this live stream this Saturday at 8. See you guys then.